I'm fine. I was not expecting that.
Okay. You're there getting your workout on. Look at you.
Thank you. It's what I do.
There you go. So what do you have for me? There's two topics we're talking about. Settling or dying alone. Or the Goldman Sachs $10 billion into a million black women. What do you want to tackle?
Let's do the settling and dying alone.
All right. You've heard what I have to say about a lot of stuff. What do you think about it?
I agree and I disagree.
Okay. I
want to say that last conversation was really good. You really had me thinking. The whole fear, protection.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know a lot of me and my friends are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Not to throw myself under the bus, but I'm 30.
We all something.
And I am a nurse practitioner in the emergency department. A lot of my friends are professionals and we're doing well, but we are single.
Nurses chronically nurses are single. More than anything else.
What? You think so?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I did a broadcast talking about the kind of women that high-value men typically don't date, and nurses were in that category.
Oh, wow.
For a multitude of reasons. But what's funny is go back 80 years ago, and nursing was some of the most feminine work you could do.
I can see that. Typically, opposite, but I can see that now.
Well, today's nurses work really long hours, those 3 days a week, 12 on, 12 off, high stress. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But at 30 years old, do you have any children?
No.
Okay. And what region are you in? Northeast, South?
I am Southern.
Okay. And if you don't, I'm just trying to respect your geographic privacy. At 30 years old, you said me and my friends are all kind of doing the same thing. What are some of the issues you're finding when you personally are trying to date? Before that, do you want to get married?
I do.
Do you want children?
I do.
How many would you like to have?
At least 1 or 2.
Don't have one. Have 2 or none. Only children, that's a horrible way to be raised. Okay, so were your mom and dad married?
They were.
Okay. So what are you running into?
People, at least where I am, I feel like are not ready to settle. From like a previous show I watched of yours, you talked about the age difference. Men tend to get in their careers, or especially black men, because you start trying to get our money right before we want to get married and have kids. Okay. So I'm 30. I've been at that point, but some are still not there yet.
So what's the oldest man you've ever dated?
How old? I would say closer to my age, like 32.
Okay, so that's one of the issues. So the comment section is off. It's just you and me talking.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't do that. Age gap dating. One thing that I don't think a lot of women have been told is that men, our brains don't really turn on until age 30.
Okay.
Yours turn on around 20. Ours turn on. The light is just now on. Click, the light's on. Between the 20 and 30, we don't know shit. I call it the twinkling 20s. The closer I got to 30, the more I realized I didn't know anything in my 20s. Between 30 and 35, this is where most men who are productive, competitive, and successful are starting to determine what kind of wife or family they would like to have, if any. I really personally don't feel like men in this country are ready for marriage until they're 35 years old. And then at that age, a 35-year-old man should be looking for a woman between the ages of 21 and 26.
And that's what I'm thinking, because I've watched your previous lives. But if, as we know, geriatric pregnancy is 35.
That's you.
Exactly.
So if you were to get married, a man who's ready to be married, have a family, and if it's anything close to a traditional Southern upbringing, talk about a man who's at least 40 years old. And see, dating men who are close to your own age may feel like you got more in common, but there's a level of respect a woman needs to have for a man in order to follow him. And it's hard to look at your peer, somebody that's a year or two older than you, with the same level of respect. It's also difficult for a man to have acquired the kind of resources, the wisdom, the experience to adequately manage, shepherd, and administer a wife and family.
I get what you're saying, but then at the same time, I feel like I've done those things. So I would expect my counterparts to kind of be there as well.
But at what age?
I know mentally it may take over 30, like you said, 32, 35.
Men have it. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I think maybe you miss what I'm saying. Men have those things. They just don't get it until later in life. So do you want to date somebody roughly your age?
Roughly, yes. As you say,
I can't change biology. See, that's the problem. See, now we're going to have the problem. No, absolutely. I cannot make men mature or evolve any faster than they do. Throughout history, women have always matured earlier than men. Today, in the modern world, men are required to do far more than our fathers, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers. So people are getting married later. What is the problem dating somebody in their late 30s or 40s?
I don't see one. I have not been approached by someone. Yeah.
Okay, but if you were, what's the issue with it?
There's not.
Are you sure? Because what does a 40-year-old man to you look like in your mind?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so you say you don't see one. All right. Do you want to share what's the nearest big city you live in next to you?
Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, which has a population of 500 to 700,000. This is when it becomes a math equation. You got to look at the kind of lifestyle you want to have, the kind of man that would make the kind of income to help facilitate the lifestyle you want to have, how much work you want to have to do to support the family, if any. Because the problem is many women today are looking for men, the kind of men, and they're not in your area. It's like I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and they were in a remote part in the Northeast, and I'm like, that's where you go after you're married. I can't make men pop up in a population of less than 400,000.
And that's probably part of my problem, because as far as finance and everything else, I'm fine with that. In my southern upbringing, I find the whole submissive, like that's how I was raised.
So what city are you in?
I am in South Haven, which is close to Memphis. It's maybe 20 minutes away.
Okay, so effectively Memphis. Now you got to know, just like I know, Memphis is rather colorful when it comes to dating.
It is.
So, you might want to consider moving, because long distance relationships don't really work.
They don't.
And see, this is when I have become ruthlessly pragmatic. Far too many women today are doing what men traditionally have done. I go where the work is, meaning why am I working there? Because that's where I got my job offer. But if you had been thinking about, but do I want to be married and have kids and so forth? Then how am I going to be found by my husband if I'm living in a place with 150,000 people? That's the dating pool. Think about the high school you went to. That's who you can date from. Versus if you go to college, you get all those people.
That's true.
So if you and your friends are being unsuccessful, it's because you're all competing for the same very small pool.
Understandable.
One reason. So at 30 years old, if you're a nurse, can't you move to Dallas, Houston? You can do what you do in a big city.
I can. I've traveled, and I'm willing to move. Being a nurse practitioner in ED, I can work anywhere.
Well, what I'm saying is, and what I'm ultimately saying is, black women are going to have to get very pragmatic and competitive. I mean, start, when Becky and them want something, they go find it. They'll go sit in history class because he has history class at that time. She just want to be next to him. And too many black women just expect it just to happen. Nope. Because y'all already outnumber us.
I think I had this expectation, especially being a Southern woman and traditional. I want the man to be at least assertive enough to approach me so I know he wants me, okay, as me chase him.
Well, Scarlett O'Hara also had to be in proximity of Rhett Butler. He did not have to go dig her up or find her.
But I feel like that's part of that scammer society. That's that Southern Belle, I want you for this reasons.
No, my point is, if you want a man to court you, you have to be in his proximity.
Gotcha.
He ain't gonna court you from Atlanta and you in Memphis. He gonna go over to Midtown. See, that's the thing. You ladies know how to organize a life, a career, but when it gets to your relationships and your romantic life, it's like, I just want the dream and the fantasy and let's be nebulous. No. When you went to college, there was a curriculum. You had 100 and X hours to complete, and my freshman, I had to do this. Just like you work out, right? Mm-hmm. You don't just go to the gym and say, I want a good body. No. There's a workout regimen. It changes often. There's a diet. There's a lot that goes into being you. Well, the kind of man you want, is he valuable?
Yes.
Is he rare?
Probably.
Well, then you're going to have to work. Or, buy a dog, die alone. Because the reality is, this is what happens. See, it's easy to stick your head down and work. And see, right around 30 is when a lot of times when women, black women in particular, in the black community, when we break up and have relationships, things fall apart, one of the first things we tend to want to do is go back to school. Go back to get more education. That's why I find so many sisters who are engaged and got masters. And all you're doing is wasting 2 more years. You're 30 years old. Are you about to go back to school?
I actually am, but I feel like if I have the extra time, why not?
You can't make this up because you don't have extra time. Listen to that TikTok. That's your biological clock ticking.
And I feel I make myself available.
You feel like what?
I make myself available. And as I said, career path I choose is always flexible.
Okay, see, you can be pragmatic in your career path, but in your emotional life, it's all about your feelings. Don't tell me about what you feel. Tell me about what you think. Show me the numbers. You going to an all-girls college and you're looking for a husband.
No.
Tell me about what you feel. You see what I said? When life starts to slow down, first thing a lot of black women want to do is, I'm going to go back to school so I can stick my head in the sand and feel like I'm getting something accomplished in life. So I'm going to do this. Well, I ain't got no husband, so let me go over here.
My head in the sand. My thing is...
And then I'm going to look up, and 2 years have gone by, and then what's going to happen is I got an MS or an MBA. Then I sure can't date a guy who just graduated from high school because there's too much of an educational gap.
No. That's not what I'm doing. This is like 3 semesters, postmasters.
Postmasters?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I'm a PhD.
I'm a PhD.
I don't mean to say it like that, but what I'm saying is...
I'm saying it like that because all the...
Available.
I think it is a travesty to have so many attractive, educated, intelligent, chronically single black women because you refuse to act like your non-black counterparts. You refuse to be competitive. You refuse to understand that the sexual marketplace requires you to compete for men. I have a colleague. His name is Dr. Tia-San Johnson. He teaches Black Masculine Studies, University of California, Santa Barbara. One of the 2 places in the country that teaches about black men. And you know what? He told me one of the largest enrollees in his class used to be white women. It used to fascinate him until he asked, why are you here? He sat down and asked some of these college students, he's like, I like black men. My boyfriend's black. I want to learn about the black culture to be a better woman for my man. You know who's not in that class? You. Becky's there to learn how to be a better woman to a black man, but you just expect black men to show up. Now Hispanic women are starting to show up because other women are coming for your men, because other women have heard that y'all don't compete for your men. You just leave your treasure out there. So then you get mad when the Kardashians or when the ballers end up going with Becky. Why he married a white woman? Because you think it's self-hate. No, you're not. It's because those women actually showed some interest and came around and actually acted like they cared. They didn't just sit back like, you need to come court me. But when black men get with non-black women, it ain't because they hate themselves. Most black men who are with non-black women will tell you they love black women. Their first choice will be a black woman. But being with a black woman in general is too complex. And then you tell that to a sister, well, we worked it, such and so forth. And all that sounds good until you 30, you got choices. You got 30, and you're going to burn 3 semesters. 3 semesters of this very valuable 5-year period. Why?
I think it's a good choice, career choice, especially with the pandemic.
Okay.
And it'll still allow me to be very flexible and be able to work anyway. So I don't think it would hinder.
Okay. Well, I would tell you that I know many women who went back to school, and I think they would beg to differ. I think they would tell you that being in school, you can't serve 2 masters. You got to have a job, and then you're in school. You have no time to really devote to a man. Paging Doc, where's she at? Where they at? I wish I could bring them up right now. I'm telling you, I'm just talking. I do a lot of research. And just think about what I'm saying. Between 30 and 35 are critical years, and you're dedicating 3 semesters, so that's a year and a half. You're going to want to get some return from that year and a half investment. But at the end of the day, let's say you found your husband, or your husband found you. Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant?
I mean, I don't want to necessarily.
Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant?
I don't want to, no.
Okay. What percentage of the family financial load do you want to have to carry for a lifetime? Out of 100%, what percentage do you want to be responsible for having to make?
I don't have that exact answer. I mean, I want to be
out of 100%. Right now, you got to pay 100% of your financial load. If you get married and you have 2 kids, what percentage of that financial load do you want to have to carry?
I don't know. The way I've always thought about it, being that I love that traditional, I would love to have a man that would want to do that and pay the major bills, but I know I will always help. So it just
okay. So what you're ultimately saying is, I don't want to have to carry any of it. I would help, but I want him to be able to pay 100% of everything.
At least the major stuff. I want to give him that.
No, man. When I say the mortgage, the car notes, the insurance, the retirement, the kids' college fund, all that stuff is something. What percentage of that do you want to have to be responsible for? And I'm just asking, what do you want to?
I would rather my husband, if God lets me have one, to pay mortgage.
This ain't about God. This is a natural choice. I'm a Christian, but this is a natural God ain't got no part in our failures down here.
Well, the major bills, I would prefer my husband to pay just to have the household roll.
So in other words, ma'am, you want a husband that can fund, that can afford to cover you and 2 kids to where your money is discretionary.
I would help with the kids. No, I wouldn't do
I'm talking about the finances of the family. I'm not talking about the administering of the family. See, this is a question that so many black women don't think about the math of it. Because the next part is coming home. You said, I don't want to have to work to pay significant bills after I'm pregnant. That means your husband has to pay all the significant bills if you're not working, right?
I think I mistook that. I don't mind working after having kids, no.
Okay.
But it's hard.
But what percent? Okay, but I need to be real clear. You have to pay 100% of your lifestyle right now.
Mm-hmm.
After you're married with 2 children, what percentage of your family's lifestyle do you want to have to pay?
I don't want to say 50-50 just for shits and giggles. Let's do 75-25.
75 is going to who? Him?
Yes.
All right. That means if the mortgage was $2,000, that means he's paying $1,500 and you paying $500.
If he got
listen. 25% is a nice tip. So what you're basically saying is I want a man who can pay damn near 80% of the entire family financial load. The mortgage, the car payment, the insurance, the retirement, the trips, the travel, the braces, everything. Ma'am, you said 75-25.
I don't know.
Stop. It doesn't matter how precise you get it. The bottom line is you don't want it to be 50-50. But here's the thing. Okay, so listen, this is important. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
That means this career you're talking about, you're going to give it up anyway because the real career is your husband. He's going to be bringing in all the money. If you get the man you want, he's going to be the major breadwinner. You are not going to be responsible. So this extra degree, extra thing is all actually not going to an outcome. It's just sitting on the wall.
You think so?
Ma'am, if you have a husband paying 75% of everything and you're paying 25%, you are not in a career. You got a job. He's carrying the lion's share. So why do you need a master's or anything else like that to cover 25%? No, listen.
I was going to give
because this is what so many sisters don't do. They just go talk about jobs and careers and this, but when it gets right down to it, I really don't want to have to be the one responsible for the financial load. I hope God blesses me with a man that I can be, and that's fine. So start with the end in mind. You don't want to have to be the breadwinner. You don't even want to be 50-50. But see, the thing is, you got to get the man first. Or that scenario you want?
I get what you're saying, but let me plead my case. The type of jobs that I go after, the reason why I want to do that is because it allows me to be what they call PRN. So I work as...
I know what PRN is. I get it.
Oh, but I still make a really good income. So it allows me to be very flexible. Like I can date.
Right. So where's your money going to go?
Now, even though it sounds terrible what you're saying.
It's not sounds terrible. It sounds accurate. It sounds like most women don't want to have to be responsible for the financial family load. They want it on their husband. So if that's the case, you don't need a career. You need enough money to cover 25%. And that's not an MBA, a master's, or anything else. You could work anywhere and cover 25%. But see, so many women think I'll do all this, and I'm assuming you're taking out loans to pay for this stuff.
Not this time around.
How much student loan debt did you take out? Did you have initially?
You just really got me telling all my business.
Because here's the thing. If at the end of the day you find the man God has for you, here you go, honey. I've got a bachelor's, I've got a master's, and I've got this, all this debt. There you go. Here's the mortgage. Here's the kids. And here's all this. You pay all that. Now I got this 25%. You got that. Now I got the bachelor's and the master's and all this other stuff, but I'm actually be practically responsible for this portion of it. Then you don't need it.
I know you don't want to get into the specifics, but a major reason I like the sound of that is because I want my significant other to have that head of household. So if it makes him feel like better doing that, or if that's something I can allow him to do just to have that traditional role, I want him to do that for his family. I want him to be able to pay the mortgage.
What do you mean?
Have no problem helping if necessary.
What do you, no. You're a Southern woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. You don't want to marry a man, have 2 kids, and be paying 50% of the bills.
Not the whole time. Like I would rather.
See, that's the point. Then stop. Then you need to understand how much it's going. See, This is where not having a family plan, what kind of man would you need, what kind of income would you need a man to make to be able to support the kind of lifestyle you want for your kids and your family, to where your employment is flexible? Because here's the reality. If you never marry, you got to pay 100%. So this is why, ladies, this whole notion of dying alone or settling, one way you're paying 100% of everything by your damn self. So I don't care if you love. I don't care if the dick is good. If the man is doing what he's supposed to do, you need to realize you're lucky to have somebody to settle for.